Okay?
Noted po, Doc.
And then we'll have Casquejo for curriculum and instruction.
Okay po, Doc.
And then library will be Salvania.
Noted, Doc.
Laboratory will be De La Peña.
Copy, Doc.
And then Villas physical plant.
Come again, Doc.
Physical plant. And then student services will be Ancheta. And then community relations, Osano.
Noted, Doc.
Administration, Amualia.
Doc, excuse me, Doc, clarification. Physical plan for Villas.
Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Noted.
So faculty is about 4.1, no? 4.2 curriculum and instruction, Casquejo. So faculty is Culinares. 4.3 library is Albania. 4.4 laboratory is De La Peña. 4.5 is physical plant, Villas. 4.6 student services, Ancheta. And then 4.7 community relations is Osano. Then 4.8 administration, Amualia. Okay? So if Mamulo is coming, she could be there on governance and management. And then with our part 5 on module 5, we will have the selection, no, from whatever is your choice. So Maita has already selected 5.13, which is PISA report.
Doc, good morning, Doc.
Yes, Spiha,
SPH,
what do
Doc,
you want?
Yung Unifast scholarship system po.
Number
Um,
14.
10?
5. Unifast
Yep.
scholarship.
Opo,
Okay.
10.
5.14, this is for Spiha. How about the other?
Amualya, Doc. Good morning.
Amalia,
Accreditation Council and agencies. Number
number
11. Number 11. Accreditation Councils and
5.11.
agencies.
Okay, so this would be Amalia.
Doc, kay Osana rin po, Doc.
Usano,
Opo, number 18, gradual implementation of physical face-to-face classes.
okay, Usano.
Good one, na. Pasok po.
Okay, next. Isa pa. How about Casquejo? What is your selected topic here? Casquejo, where are you?
Yes po, Doc. Ano po sa akin? Number 12 po, Doc.
LUC,
Institution
SUC.
Standard and Organization.
So, Casquejo, LUC, SUC. No,
Yes po, Doc.
system. Okay. About Ancheta, what topic you want?
Ikaw na lang select sa akin po.
Ako na lang mag-select. Okay. So, I would want you to go into internationalization. 5.7. Okay, so this
Doc,
is
De La Peña po.
Okay po, Doc, copy.
okay, De La Peña, what number?
ISO 2015 po, Doc. Number 7. Number 6 po pala.
Number 6. Okay, so this is by De La Peña.
Yes po, Doc.
Okay. And then, isa pa wala. Villas, nga ka na? Wala pa. Villas, what do you want? Which topic?
lahi po to siyang kuan Doc 4.5 tong physical plan.
Lahi, that is your second item. The last topic is more of the research presentation. So, how about the institutional sustainability assessment?
Okay po Doc. Institutional system.
Sustainability assessment. That is should be by Villas. Okay?
Sorry Doc ha, di kay ko kadungog kay na ako sa highway.
That is, as I said, yours will be institutional sustainability assessment.
Okay po Doc, noted.
How about Usano? What do you want? Anana di ka gradual implementation.
Wala pa ko,
One,
Dok.
two, three, four.
Ay,
Oh,
Doc.
si ay. Salbanya.
Doc.
Akadjit lang, si Salbanya muna, no? Salbanya, what do you want? Unsa man ka nagtakilid man ka, Mr. Salbanya, imuhang cellphone.
Dok, wala pa na ko nakita ako ang module diri, Dok. Kay sa
Wala
cellphone.
pa.
Tagay lang ko, Dok.
Maybe what could be Asian qualification framework. So, Salbanya.
Asian quality.
Asian Qualification Reference Framework, AQRF.
Yes po, Dok.
Doc, excuse me po.
Cheta,
Doc, may nakakuha na po ba ng 19 Legal Education Board?
what's that again?
Legal Education Board ko, may nasa mo na po ba kayo niyan?
That was already, that is another one. That is for Cheta.
Pwede yan na lang po yung akin, Doc.
That is yours for the first report that you have.
Ay, okay
Your
po.
second report is student services. Then your research report, Ancheta, is internationalization. So that means you have two topic presentation and you have one research presentation.
Okay po.
So you have the legal, which is yes, legal education programs.
Program. Yes po. Tapos sa research po, kasi yung Legal Education Board sana, related sana siya dun sa legal education program po.
Dili katong sa board. Ano lang kay makover na nimo sa legal education.
Ay, okay po. Sige po. Noted po. Thank you.
That's why yours will be internationalization because actually this time that education institutions are not required to really implement internationalization, no, of higher education institutions. Okay.
Okay po, Doc. Thank you po.
So everybody has already an assignment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Uy, napay wala. 10, 9. 9 ra. Who is not given? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're supposed to be 10. Minsan may wala pa.
Nag-say culinares po, Doc.
Ha?
Naanak ko.
Ma'am Asano.
Si Osano. Philip. Si Culinares. Where is Culinares? Krihan. Wala ka
Yes
pa.
po, Doc. 4.1, Doc. Yung na-add po sa akin is 4.1.
No, that is about faculty. That is your second presentation. Your first presentation is
kindergarten po.
about kindergarten and early childhood, no? Kindergarten bar early
Yes.
childhood.
Yes
The
po.
second presentation is about now the areas or section. Because itong kindergarten, this is about curriculum in educational management. So you'll be talking about, your first presentation is about curriculum and in education institutions, about issues on curriculum. The second presentation is about the different areas or sections for quality assurance of educational institution, no, in educational management. So that's why culinaries will be on the faculty, Casquejo on curriculum, library is La Albania, laboratory de la Peña, physical plant Villas, student services on Cheta, community relations Osano, administration Amualia. Because both Spiha and also Maita had already the second, no, the second presentation. So your research presentation, the one that I asked you, do your first and second are just topic, no? Well, here for the research presentation, this is another one. That's why you were asked to select. So, institutional sustainability is for Villas, internationalization is Ancheta, ISO de la Peña, Asian Qualification Reference Framework, Salvania, Accreditation Councils and Agencies, Amualia, LUC SUC System, Casquejo, PISA Report, Maita, Unifast Scholarship, Ispiha, and gradual implementation of physical face-to-face classes of schools, Usano. So, ikaw na lang, Culinares, asa man imuha.
Number 1 po, Doc, yung COVID-19 pandemic.
Ah, ang imong i-report ni ini, it's more on how is it now at the present situation. Okay?
Noted po,
And
Doc.
then, not katong mga sauna. Although you can still make use of, punag historical ang imuha tanan ha. In your report, it's more of how was it started until the present time. Okay?
Noted
So
po, Doc.
this would be culinares. Okay, very good.
Question, Doc.
Yes, what's the question?
Sa research, Module 5 research, Doc, kay ang pattern kay IMRAD, Doc.
Yes, AMRAD. I already uploaded the AMRAD, what is this, template. Diba? I hope you can download the template for the AMRAD. You will not choose anymore the one that is there. Okay? I made a revision. So, an innovation of what you're supposed to be following for your research presentation. So, it is AMRAD. Wherein, you will have the abstract. Abstract there will be done only after you have done everything. Okay? You have done everything. Then you have the introduction. The introduction is, okay, you give a sort of a little background of the no, of that particular issue, that concern, down, and then some related literatures or readings which you'll have to integrate. And then, of course, you will have to indicate your problem statement, no, statement of the problem, or if you'd like to make it in a qualitative, it could be research question. So anyway, in that MRAD template, I indicated there what you'll be doing for each part. And then, so that is for the introduction. And then next is the M. It is now the methodology. That would include what you will be using, no? So for that aspect. So the method, so you know what are the components for the method or the methodology. And then RAD is now the results and discussion. So that is RAD. Okay, and then of course your references will be also part of the end, no, matters. Your front matters, of course, you'll have the cover page, and then included with that would be your table of contents. And if you have some tables, list of tables, if you have a conceptual framework, you can do also, no, if ever. So if not, you do not need to indicate that in your table of contents. So this could be part of the front matters. And the end matters are actually your references and some other appendices if you have something to add, no, to append. Okay? So your assignments are already clear to you, your first presentation and your second presentation. The third is already your research paper presentation related to the topic that you had selected. Okay? So it is a research paper presentation. So that's why you have two topic presentations. Okay? So katulo lang mo nga maka-present. Now, we said that our class will have 2 hours synchronous, no, because we'll have to see each other, and especially in the presentation. And then we have 1 hour asynchronous because you need to really prepare your presentation very well. So I'm giving 1 hour, no, as your asynchronous session on your own, making sure that you can do your assignment, your the presentations very well, no? Ma-prepare ninyo mayo. And especially of this research paper. So that's why 1 hour is allocated to the asynchronous for your preparation period, no? Preparation period. Because we need you to give a time to really give enough thinking with that 1 hour. Okay, with that 1 hour session that will be provided to you every meeting. So that means the synchronous time we have is until 12 noon only. So 12 to 1 will be your time to, to do the preparations for the assigned topics for you. Okay? So are this clear about rest, Julius? Klaro na?
Yes, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
Okay. So be sure not much worry about what is to be downloaded, no? Unlike other course that I had that you had undergone, especially in human behavior, there were plenty of things. But here, what is important is your presentation, the content that should be indicated, that should be the priority, that should be something more thorough that I'll be expecting from you. Okay. So this
Doc,
time,
question,
yes,
Doc.
yes,
Doc,
we have.
pwede na ma-access yung sa Starbucks, Doc, sa ano? May nakita kasi ako sa Clipper na parang link po for Starbucks portal. Pero yung clinic ko po siya, yung lumabas yung parang ano lang, PDF file.
Sa,
Yung,
sa EBSCO?
sa yung Starbucks po na ano sa Clipper, Doc ba?
Okay. You
Oo.
ask the keeper kung unsay koan, no? What
At least may mga references.
any related things about Quipper, they are there. Anyway, they are very helpful, no? You can make use of their assistance every now and then because they really committed anyway that any student who would like to be clarified on the usage, on things you would like to access, and all related to Quipper maneuvering, you can always ask. Now, anyway, you have also your own GC in which the Quipper people are included in our GC. So, pwede lang na kay aron makita na nila dahil mabasahan. So, through our GC, for any concern, you can send, no, to the Quipper, to address it to the Quipper so they can immediately look into it.
Okay, Doc. Additional question, Doc.
Yeah.
Yung sa LMS, Doc, di ba may ano naman sa RMC, yung parang online library. Can we access it?
Quipper, by the way, this Quipper is our LMS.
Yan na po. Okay po. Okay.
Oo. We are using Creeper as our LMS.
Mm-mm.
And by the way, you make use of Kuan. What is this? A lot of references, no? Through the EBSCO, diba? So you can also access our library portal so that you can get a lot of materials from EBSCO. However, in this course, most of what you will be using, like for example, curriculum, issues and curriculum, will be more coming from the department order, a CHED memorandum order, or it could be mga circulars, no, memorandum circulars coming from uh, the Department of Education, the Commission High Education, from the Legal Education Board, from the TESDA, and it includes also the Department of Health, especially for some topics, no, about uh, research paper presentation, okay, and some of other uh, materials that you can utilize. However, about the areas for quality assurance of educational management, you can use the references coming from the different accrediting agencies, like the PAASCO. Okay, make use, so you access PAASCO. Um, what is this? Portal, if you can do it, no, and then there are some materials there that can be of use to you. The AXCO ACI, you can have also the PACU COA, you can have also the other, no, for the public schools, the ALCO COA, in fact, no, and also unsa tong sa kuan kanang sa public school, so the um, yeah, yeah, the Alcocoa would be also included there. And there is also for the technical education. Because, and then another material that you can use is also that of the FAAP. FAAP is the so-called umbrella. FAAP means Federation of Accrediting Associations of the Philippines. So that is especially for the part 4. No? So your references would be more related to accreditation, and also related like the Philippine Quality Award, because that is still part of accreditation. Okay? In fact, kanina si Amualia will be looking into accreditation councils and agencies. All this will be included there. No? So magamit mo na siya. So I hope, so your references would be varied, no? It's not only the general books and but and also studies, but rather mga different organizations or agencies and councils handbook or workbook, and some survey materials and instruments that they have, because they have a lot of instruments and survey materials for this part 4 on the module 4, no? Areas of quality assurance educational management, for education management. So you can make use of that. So kato ng pag part 5, okay, you have a lot of references, not only uh, limited to those that I mentioned. There are other more, no, from different articles, from news clippings, from especially the respective organizations, brochures and materials. Okay, so you can make use of that. Okay, sige. Some more other clarification before we start the reports to be presented by Spiha on 2.2 about scope and responsibilities of school managers.
Doc, na kay
No more.
question, Doc.
Yeah.
Asa ko makita tong format sa MRAD?
Yeah, I uploaded it already to the Koan, to the, what is this, Quipper of
Ah,
this course. Now, each of the courses that I'm handling, like Education 203, Education 111, Education 112, and 205, the MRAD format, no, template is already there for each of this. So, nakabutang. So, in case di nyo makita, please inform
Doc,
me.
Doc,
Yes.
excuse me, dili good ma-download ang mga modules sa Creeper. Not like
Hmm?
before. Dili
You,
ma-download.
yeah, you ask the keeper, ask the assistants, kanong dili ma-download. So, anything related to that, you ask the keeper. Yes, Amalia?
Additional, Doc, naka-download ako, Doc.
Oh,
Bakit sa akin na-download? Na-print ko na po.
Sa
Amalia was
laptop
able
ba?
to download.
Nganong dili lagi ko download?
Oo.
Laptop gamit mo, ma'am?
Opo.
Na-download ko din.
Same po
Kasi
po,
last
ma'am.
is cellphone maka-download lang. Okay, sige po, noted. Try ko sa
Opo.
Siguro ang imong cellphone does not have the kuan, the function for that. Sige. Okay. Some more? Wala na, klaro na. Okay, so Mrs. Piha, you can start now the presentation of your report.
Okay, Doc. Let me share my slides. Hello, classmate. Visible ba siya? Clear?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, classmates. Good morning, Doc. My task for this morning is to report about the scope and responsibilities of school managers. Let us answer first the question, what is school management? School management means running the school along the desired educational policies. It takes into account all aspects of the school, the policies, material and human resources, programs, activities, equipment, among others, and integrates them into a fruitful whole. So basically, school management is running the school. And you have to consider what are the policies that are applied, the human resources that are involved, what are the programs and activities needed in order for the school to work smoothly, and also for programs and activities that can also benefit the learners. And also, aside from that, we have to consider uh, the physical facilities and the equipment of the schools. And all of this work at a fruitful whole. Okay. Next, we have the another meaning of school management. School management is the act of managing the school's cultural dynamics, tuning with the public education guidelines and policies for the implementation of its political, pedagogical project, and committed to the principles of democracy and methods that organize and create the conditions for an autonomous education environment, meaning own solutions within their competencies, of participation and sharing, or the joint decision making and effective results, and self control, monitoring and evaluation with information feedback. In the Department of Education, we now have the school-based management. So before school-based management, uh, the management of the school was basically controlled by the national government or the central office. But with the decentralization, the schools are now more empowered in running the schools. So meaning all the decisions are made inside the school or in the locality of the school. So therefore, the stakeholders are always involved in the decision making of the school, because um, the school is affected by the community and the community is affected by the school. And moreover, the learners are coming from the community. So ang community at ang school, they have to work together in order to manage the school and to make the school work uh, dynamically with other members of the society. Who is the school manager? So now the question is, who is the school manager? So we have the school management, and everyone is involved. Everyone in the community is involved in the school management, but who is the school manager? Good school manager is someone who takes care of the day-to-day functioning of the activities that happen within the school. And school managers, leaders, and administrators are the CEOs of school districts and individual schools. So basically, the school managers are the school heads, no? Yung mga tao na nagpapatakbo ng paaralan. And what is the scope, or what are the scopes of the school management? Okay, the school management covers the following. First, the intellectual development of the child. So, isa sa mga sakop ng pagiging school manager is to make sure that there is intellectual development na nangyayari sa school. So meaning, we have to nurture the intelligence of the learners. We have to make sure that every time na pumapasok ang mga bata, they learn something when they go out. Next, we have the moral development. We have also to make sure that we are teaching the learners to discern what is right and what is wrong. So we have to develop their moral judgment or their morality. Next, we have the social development. So it means that we have to make sure that the learners that we are nurturing inside of school can be socially aware, and they can also work together in our community. So kailangan nating we have to make sure that the learners understand what is going on in the society, so that when they go out from our school, they can be a very productive members of the community. And we have the physical development. The school management has to make sure that the learners in our school are also physically developing, meaning we have to create activities or programs that will help them develop physically. So that's why we have the sports program. We also have the wellness program. So ang mga bata ay mabibigyan natin ng chance or to have their, aside from their skills to be developed, they are also developed physically. We also have the aesthetic development. So aesthetic development is basically about developing the child's taste or appreciation of something beautiful or the art, no? Turuan natin sila paano nila appreciate sa art, sa beauty, no? They can develop their own taste of music. So ito yung kailangan nating i-develop sa mga bata. Next, we have the national and emotional integration. National and emotional integration is basically pagiging makabayan and pagiging makabansa. No? When you say national integration, yung feeling that I belong in this society, I belong in this nation, yung ganun na feeling. And emotional integration is yung napapansin natin tayo, especially if we are in a place that is yung hindi tayo usual. For example, ako na Bisaya, pumunta sa Luzon, I feel happy and I feel connected to a person pag nalaman kong Bisaya rin siya. So parang gano'n na feeling, yung may connection ka sa kapwa mo. So we have to develop that kind of feeling or emotion sa mga bata. Yung hindi sila detached sa mga tao sa kanilang paligid. Hindi nila ina-isolate ang kanilang sarili. So they have to have that national and emotional integration. And now we have the vocational development. It means that we have also to develop the students their self-concept. Meaning, kapag buo na yung self-concept nila, pang alam na nila talaga yung self-concept nila, they will be able to identify kung anong career or anong job ang kanilang pipiliin in the future. No? So these are the cover ng school management. We have to make sure that our children are developed intellectually, morally, socially, physically, aesthetically. We have national and emotional integration and also vocational development. Now let's talk about the responsibilities of school managers. The following describes the breadth of 5 domains that are required of school heads to be effective in the 21st century. So I got this responsibilities from the Philippine Professional Standards for School Heads. And according to that Philippine Professional Standards for School Heads, quality school heads in the Philippines need to first set the direction of the school. So kailangan nilang gumawa ng vision, mission, and goal ng school. So they set the direction, the goals, and objectives of the school to ensure that these are understood and embraced by all stakeholders. So it is very important for a school head or for a school manager to communicate. Kailangan talaga ng communication sa kanilang mga stakeholders. Actually, hindi na siya katulad before that parang yung school heads is detached from the community. Yung parang siya yung tinitingnan, no? Parang, kasi nakikita ko dati na pag principal ka, parang untouchable. Yung parang hindi pwedeng may makialam. But this time, it is described in that Philippine Professional Standards for School Heads that there should be an understanding between the stakeholders as well as the school heads. And aside from that, they identify and comprehend relevant sources of information such as existing laws, policies, research, feedback, and context, and also establish their connection and assignment. So yun nga, para clear yung direction ng school, so dapat alam ng school head yung mga laws, no, yung mga batas. Kasi if the school doesn't know the laws, posibleng magkaroon ng problema. And from time to time kasi, especially in the Department of Education, may mga lumalabas na mga department orders, may lumalabas na mga policies, no, may mga lumalabas na yung sa feedback, for example, may evaluation na nangyari. So they have to be communicated para alam at clear yung direction ng school. They manifest complete understanding of the school's current and desired states and execute various collaborative strategies with stakeholders to respond appropriately to the dynamic and rapidly evolving needs of the school. This is very, sa amin kasi, sa school namin, talagang nafe-feel to, especially during the pandemic. No? Maraming changes na nangyari because of the pandemic. And the school cannot operate on its own without the help of the stakeholders. So kailangan ng collaboration talaga with the stakeholders and the school. They are committed to strategic course of action consistent with the institutional goals towards maximizing organizational performance. So kailangan ng planning, mga strategies, despite sa mga constraints, mga problema. So kailangan pa rin na alam natin ang ating direction because pag alam natin ang ating goal and objectives, kahit na may mga obstacles along the way, we'll be able to overcome and find solutions in order to meet that goal. Next, manage the systems and processes in the school. So they understand and implement laws, policies, guidelines, and insurances that relate to the management of human, financial, and material resources. So ito na, ang sistema, paano ba ang flow? Paano ba talaga dapat ang pag-manage ng school? So alam nila ang law, policies, and guidelines, and issuances. Related to the management of human, financial, and material resources. Nung nagkaroon ng COVID-19, ang Department of Education nagpalabas ng mga guidelines on how to use, for example, sa financial, how to use the MOOE, no? paano ba gamitin ang MOOE during the COVID-19 crisis. So yun, dapat alam ng school head yun. Kasi pag hindi niya alam yun at nagkaroon ng mismanagement sa pera, mahirap i-liquidate yun. So nagkaroon na ng problema. So pag nagkaroon ng problema, so mananagot ka sa batas. So dapat alam ng school head kung paano yun. Next, we have, wait, okay. They establish a culture of transparency and accountability in the continuous delivery of basic education services. Dito lumalabas yung transparency and accountability. So, ini-encourage, actually not encourage, but it is really important to be transparent in dealings sa if you are a school head. Because pag hindi transparent ang school head at walang accountability, doon magkakaproblema because there would be problems. There would be, ang tawag doon, yung mga reklamo, not only from the teachers, but also from the stakeholders. Pag may nag-report na sa 888, malaking problema yan. Malaking problema yan. So you have to be transparent kasi actually, ma'am, nangyayari talaga to. Nangyayari talaga ito naman talagang may nagre-report sa 888 kasi hindi na nila alam paano ginamit yung resources, paano ginamit yung donations, yung MOOE, yung basta pera talaga. Mahirap yan pag hindi transparent ang school head. They are committed to ensuring efficiency, effectiveness, fairness, and discharging functions towards maximizing organizational health. So para walang problema, walang pagdududa, maganda ang relasyon ng mga tao sa loob ng eskwelahan as well as the community. So the school heads should have transparency and there should be accountability. Next, nurture themselves and others. They reflect on their personal and professional development to enhance their incompetencies in leading and developing people as they support their personal, professional development and welfare. So as a school head, you don't only nurture yourself. You have to nurture also others. If you are a leader, you have to create more leaders. Yun yung sinasabi palagi. Okay. Ay, wait. Nag-skip ba ako? Okay, ito pala. Promote quality teaching and learning. Ito pala, number 3 pa pala, sorry. Promote quality teaching and learning. They are equipped with knowledge, skills, and attitudes in providing technical assistance on instruction that relates to curriculum, practice, and performance. So as a school head, it is expected that you have the knowledge and skills and also the attitude to provide technical assistance. Siguro makaka-relate dito yung mga sa DepEd, no? Especially sa DepEd kasi almost every year nagbabago yung RPMS, PPST, IPCR, yung IPCR natin. So, although it is already practiced that there should be class observation, no? May mga technical assistance na provide, mas lalo siyang naging mahirap this pandemic kasi nagbago yung mga sistema. So the school head should be there to provide assistance on the instruction. Kasi iba yung pamamaraan ng pagtuturo noong face-to-face sa pagtuturo ngayon na ano na siya, yung modular, yung online. So iba na talaga. So ngayon, mas naging complicated yung trabaho ng school head at ng teachers. Kasi dapat alam ng school head kung paano magbigay ng technical assistance sa online classes, paano magbigay ng technical assistance sa modular classes, yung ganon. So dapat the school heads should be ready with the skills. At dapat din yung school heads mahilig magbasa, mahilig mag-improve sa kanyang sarili in order to provide that technical assistance. They also create a learner-centered environment that ensures access to inclusive, excellent, relevant, and liberating education. So itong mga uh, learner-centered environment, access to inclusive, excellent, relevant, liberating education, part ito sa IPCRF or sa RPMS din ng teachers. So yung ginagawa ng mga school head, they have to make sure that the teachers are also targeting their yung mga goals or yung kailangan lang dapat na mga indicators with the help of the school head. No, they are committed in providing instructional leadership towards improving competence among teachers and outcomes among learners. So ito, there should be a collaboration or there should be a consultation between the school head and the teachers para ma-improve yung kanilang mga competence. Kasi hindi talaga mawawala sa isang organization na may mga teachers talaga na kailangan talaga ng help. No, yung extra help at extra time para ma-meet nila yung standard. Especially, for example, ngayon na pandemic, hindi lahat ng teachers marunong pag-manipulate ng mga yung Zoom meeting, yung mga Google Meet, yung mga ganun. So kailangan mo silang tulungan, no? Yung mga hindi sila sanay, so you have to be there or you have hindi naman ganun ka-techy din si school head, so at least may tao siyang na-assign for that particular job para matulungan at hindi mapag-iwanan yung teacher. Okay, so yun yung trabaho, isa sa mga trabaho ng school head. Okay, so number 4. Okay, ito na. Nurture themselves and others. Okay, they reflect on their personal and professional development to enhance competencies in leading and developing people as they support their personal professional development and welfare. Okay, so sa RPMS, PPSC at sa IPCRF ng mga teachers, may part doon na professional development or sa yung development plan na tinatawag natin. So, kailangan alam ng teacher kung ano ba ang kailangan o mga development needs ng kanyang mga kasamahan. Because from that development needs, magkakaroon ng planning kung paano yun siya ma-address. Okay, so hindi lang the school head should not only focus on himself or herself in the career development, no? Kailangan alam niya kung ano ang nangyayari sa kanyang mga teachers and also encourage the teachers to level up, no? Pag nakita mo may potential yung teacher, no, tulungan mo advance sa kanilang career, no? Pag may mga tinatawag nating reclassification, tulungan mo, no, comply the requirements, mga ganun because nakakatulong din naman kasi yung mga teachers, sila talaga yung nagpapatakbo. Although school head is the manager, but the people, parang tinatawag na frontliners, yung mga frontliners talaga natin, yung mga teachers. Okay, so we have to nurture them. Okay, they also provide others the means for development such as opportunities to learn, reflect, lead, and progress in their profession. So yun, pag may mga scholarships din, wag natin, yung mga school heads, they have to inform, no? They have to inform the teachers na may mga opportunities, no? May cases kasi, hindi talaga ito naiiwasan. May mga cases na pag may mga opportunities, hindi sinasabi ng mga, may mga ganon na nangyayari na hindi sinasabi kasi ayaw maungusan, no? Ayaw maunahan or may taong gustong ilagay doon. So they have to give equal opportunity talaga sa mga teachers. Okay, and they are committed in ensuring people and team effectiveness. So you have to identify the strength and weaknesses of the people, no? Para alam mo kung saan sila effective at saan sila medyo may pangailangan ng support so that hindi maging sagabal, no, in reaching the goals and objectives of the school. Okay, and fifth is engage stakeholders. They engage stakeholders in initiatives towards the improvement of school communities. Okay, so ngayon, ang mga schoolets, they should have a good relationship with the stakeholders. Importante talaga yan. Okay? Kasi kapag may mga pangangailangan ng school, saan ba tayo tumatakbo? Diba? Sa ating mga barangay, sa ating PTA, minsan, minsan or most of the time sa ating LGU, yung mga ganon. So, dapat we have always have that engagement. If you are familiar with the Brigada Eskwela, no? Yung tinatawag na Brigada Eskwela, it is an engagement with stakeholders kasi dyan yung malabas yung pagtutulungan, bayanihan, no? Bayanihan ng mga tao. So, and aside from that, every year kasi may tinatawag na annual implementation plan. So before the school head can create an annual implementation plan, there should be a consultation with the stakeholders, or representative from the stakeholders, kung ano ba talaga ang gusto nilang priority projects ng school or priority activities ng school. And pag alam ng stakeholders yon, so, at alam nilang kinonsult sila, their support would be high. Mas mataas ang kanilang support kaysa hindi nila alam, bigla ka na lang humingi. So parang para saan niya? So parang walang transparency, walang accountability. So ganun. So there should be engagement with the stakeholders. And when we say stakeholders, we have the internal and external. No? The internal and external stakeholders. Yung lagi nating natatap yung internal natin. But it is also important to tap our external stakeholders. Yung mga alumni, yung mga LGU, yung mga non-government organizations, no, yun sila, dapat itap din natin yan sila. They are responsible and accountable for inculcating a deeper understanding of the vision, mission, and core values and directions of the school to relevant entities. Yun nga, yung mga sinabi ko ng mga internal and external stakeholders. They possess skills in relating with, dealing with, and in forging relationships with people. Yun nga, if you have a good relationship sa yung mga stakeholders, kakaroon kayo ng mga memorandum of agreement, memorandum of understanding, may mga donations, yung mga ganon. So, maganda yan. Maganda yan. Okay? They build relationships with individuals and organizations anchored in mutual trust, honesty, openness, respect, and commitment towards sharing the same vision for attainment of institutional goals. Kapag maganda yung relationship mo sa stakeholders, so there is trust, no? Pagkakatiwalaan ka. No, may honesty, yun nga, transparency, no, openness, no? Pag may mga tanong sila, you are willing and ready to answer. Para saan yun? Para saan yung hinihingi yung donation? Yun nga, so kailangan open talaga yan. And also respect. Because our stakeholders are coming from different walks of life. Iba-iba yung background niyan. But if you have a good relationship to them, although when you say financially, mas mayaman talaga sila, but they can have that respect to you pag marunong kang makisama sa kanila. And they are committed in advocating that education is everyone's responsibility. So may ganon, may shared responsibility na if there is an engagement with the stakeholders. Okay, so yun lang po, Doc. No? Those are the scope and responsibilities of school managers. And these are my references.
Okay, so very good, no? So you have this references of the school management and the careers principal. Okay. Okay, so some points that you would like to be clarified from the class about this scope and responsibilities of the school managers. Anyone would like to share something? Did you have some experiences, especially could you put it up, Mrs. Piha? Because you have indicated there, no, someone who takes care of the day-to-day functioning of the activities that happen within the school. How do you see? How do you assess your? Uh, how do you assess your school managers? The one who is leading you in the school, is he doing this function? No, leaders and are the CEOs of school districts and individual schools. Are they really, did you experience that? Or if you are a school manager, are you functioning in that manner? But who have some points to share? Mr. Rex Julius.
Uh, yes, Doc. Dapat naka-transparent ang mga, sabi ni Ma'am, yung mga MOOE, dapat meron din siyang bulletin board for the teachers know what are the expenses, and yung mga money na nag-come in sa schools, mga resources, money from canteen. So, dapat naka-manage siya ng right, Doc, para walang mga questions na ma-arise later. Kasi kung walang transparency board, di alam ng mga workers sa schools kung tama ba yung paggasto sa money. So, yan lang po.
You mean even the canteen proceeds?
Yes, Doc. Yung mga income sa canteen, yung mga siguro, mga collection sa PTA, wala naman siguro yan. Pero some schools are collecting pa man. Yan, Doc. So, dapat alam ng mga tao sa loob ng schools.
Right. Are there some situations that these are not transparent?
Siguro there are situation na gulo ang schools because ano man, lack of transparency yung according ni Ma'am yung report natin.
Is this still happening in some schools?
Probably, Doc. Yes, Doc.
So, may nare-report po na sa
mention sa name.
Okay, so there are still some. What do you think is the reason for this not being transparent in the operations of the school, especially when it comes to the financial matters? Anyone? Who are from public schools here? Almost everybody, no? Are public schools except Maita. What do you think is the reason? Why are they not able to make their operations transparent? How about Amwalia? Did you experience this, that in your school not really that transparent?
Yes, Doc. We
Katawa.
are suffering, suffering like 2 days, Doc. We are suffering for the budget because ang MOEE is dependent, or we are dependent by the division office. So, ang division office, sila na yung magbigay ng request kung ano yung gusto nilang ibigay. Ngayong fourth quarter, kami nakatanggap ng MOEE kasi ang gusto nilang ibigay is yung mga school supplies lang. So, how about the traveling expenses sa mga teachers? Yung mga nag-seminar, so hindi siya maano Doc, ma-reinforce kasi nga yung good for the schools na independent kasi yung sa amin na school is mag mag ano pa kami I mean depend pa kami sa division office po yun. Mahirap yun kasi kung ano yung gusto mangyari ng taga division office, hindi yan gusto na mangyari yan yung mangyayari sa amin po sa public school. Pero advantage naman po pag dependent yung school niyo kasi yung budget diretso na sa inyo na school po. Yun lang po. Yung naiwan, mag-suffer talaga yung mga teachers at saka yung principal. So maghanap ng ibang alternative lang po para ma-sustain yung mga pangangailangan ng teachers po at saka yung school. Yun lang po.
How about the others? How about Villas? Are you in the public school also? Are there some observations that you
Doc?
have? Yes. Yeah, Villas.
Yes po, Doc. School, what is the question, Doc? I'm so busy na ako sa gawas.
Because we're talking about the school manager, no? Who takes care of the day-to-day functioning of the activities that happen within the school. And then one of the things that was discussed is about transparency, about especially the use of funds, the budget of the MOOE, and so
Nagmasakit.
on.
Ay, unsa man?
Oh,
Doc,
Villas.
ako na lang po.
Yes, okay. Villa Peña.
Uh, this is just to share since I'm from a small school po in DepEd. Sometimes po hindi transparent kasi case to case basis po kasi siya. Yung school head namin, siya yung nag-MOOE and at the same time siya rin yung teacher for grade 3 and grade 4 level. So medyo mabisi. And then another factor is we don't have we are not independent with the MOOE. Naka-attach kami from a different school. So that is why hindi masyado or hindi clear and hindi up to date yung transparency namin with the MOOE po.
Mm-mm. So you mean if you are a small school, you are attached to another school?
Yes po, Doc.
So what is the
Extension
what
ang
what are the criteria for school to be independent for the MOE?
The number of learners po, Doc. In our case, from kindergarten to grade 10, we only have 125 students. So the government can't honor us an independent budget po.
Mm-mm. So what is the minimum that the government can actually declare you to be independent?
In every grade level po, dapat may around 30 above na students po, Doc. In every grade level. So that's about,
So that's the only qualification. So you have
yes
a
po,
very
Doc.
small school where there is the multi-level teaching of the teachers.
Yes po, Doc.
So that's why at the same time, dapat din siya ay other administrative responsibilities with the one who is heading the school, no, as a school head.
Correct po.
So, well, anyway, that could still be done with transparency, no? Because if you are not independent, you're dependent on the mother organization, that could still be done on a transparent way so that everybody would understand as to what really is the status of this particular item, this particular budget. No, it's more on being when we see transparency, not necessarily that you are independent or dependent, no, but rather it is something that is telling what really is the actual situation in a particular area, a particular transaction, for example, no. So in fact, it would be even necessary for one that is dependent on the other mother school that why you have only that much if everything is transparent. because they will understand nga mao di ay ni nga ano di ay no and so on. So that's why transparency is important. In fact, we have the so-called ARTA. Is this being observed, ARTA? ARTA law?
Yes,
ARTA?
Doc.
Okay.
Yes,
How
Doc.
do you observe this, Mrs. Pia?
Ang ARTA kasi, Doc, parang sa process na po yan. Na less
Yeah.
yung contact, tapos yung time dapat, for example, yung sa documents, dapat if it can be done within 15 minutes, wag na talaga magbalik-balik. Para hindi na magkaroon na yung pagbibigay, tawag doon, Doc, yung may suhol, yung bayad, mga fixers, mga ganyan. So,
Yes.
yan po, may tinatawag kami yung process flow, citizen charter, yung citizens charter. Yun po, dapat nandun yun siya sa labas ng school para makita na pag ganito yung kailangan mo enrollment, ilang minutes ba yan or ilang hours ba yan siya dapat matapos. And as much as possible, hindi na talaga pabalik-balik yung yung mga clients sa school para maiwasan yung mga bigayan, yung mga ganyan.
Yeah, it's because it's very clear as to how long will it take for this particular step no, in that procedure. So the ARTA actually is giving a clearer information to the general public for a particular transaction, for each transaction of that particular organization, especially government organization, because you are trying, the government organization or office is trying to really uh, be away, you know, to avoid those mga, especially speculation of people about, well, you know, under the table transaction about the one that our president was, in fact, is still going on, no? Trying to eradicate. And what is that one that the president is trying to eradicate in the different government offices?
Corruption.
Corruption. Yeah, that's the point. The corruption. And that's why ARTA is being organized. And in fact, I remember ARTA, no? ARTA was something that was spearheaded by the Development Academy of the Philippines through the funding of the foreign aid, no? Funding, so that governments can more or less be able to establish the citizens charter. And that citizens charter is composed of not only the government people but also represented by private, no, individuals to compose a particular committee for the ARTA implementation and monitoring. So I remember when I was still with Korea Su College, I was being tapped by our city government of Digos to be one of the private, we were two, no, private representatives of private individual. So we were two, si usa sa mga gikan sa bangko si Mr. Gramahe. So we're two who represented at ARTA, and I noticed that it was a very good program because it really would try to, at the start, no, inventory. How long would a particular process be finished, and what are those requirements? So it should have to be indicated as to the very clear process to make it easier for any client, no, of the government to have it done, to avoid corruption, to avoid fixers, to avoid, you know, other anomalous transactions, especially under the table transaction. So that's one of the things. And I noticed it was a very good program. So in fact, uh, it was not for all cities throughout the Philippines, but rather they were just identifying, um, if for example, in Region 11, there were only two cities that were identified, the Davao City and Digos City. So medyo nakakuan ang city because probably it was qualified, no? And it's not only as far as the city government, uh, it includes also the schools, no? So moto na propagate na daghan yun that all offices, especially in the government, for government service, including the public schools, should have the ARTA. So it's very, very helpful, no? So that's why even if you go to the Department of Foreign Affairs, na klaro kayo how long will it take you for this particular step, and then the total, no, would be that would really indicate how many minutes only or hours for that or days depending on the kind of transaction. So it's very, very easy, no? Because if it will take beyond what is prescribed, something is wrong. Unless the burden is coming from the individual, wa niya na na prepare tanan, no? Wala niya na dala ang gikinahanglan. So of course, balik-balik yun siya. But if everything is there, everything is well, no, is in order, what the reason nga pabalik-balikon? And that is a very good point, no, about ARTA. And it, in fact, school managers will have to be very conscious about that ARTA, especially in the public schools, because of the so-called corruption that are being to be avoided, no, especially for public service. So that's why here, when we talk about school managers, about the scope and the responsibilities and the duties, we really would like to see both in the public and the private. No? Although in the private, it's not much to be looked into. Okay? Especially private schools. There are some private schools that are run by sectarian and the others are non-sectarian. So especially sectarian, these are more of the religious congregations, and they have also better system, no, of controls. And then much more also for the non-sectarian, labi na if this is a corporation of a family corporation, wherein they had instituted a very good control system, no, for them to really follow up whatever is so fully charged na uh, is the financial operation of the school. So this is somehow, no, as far as private school is concerned, unless a private school is being manned by other people, niya ang tag-iya. I remember last time, there was that school, the International Harvardian University. No? I do not know if you have come across this, some of you, pero kamong mga bata pa, wala na. Wala na mo anak ka bati, wala mo ka kita. This was actually uh, located in Villa Abril. Almost the whole Villa Abril was the Kuan, no, the site of that International Harvardian University, IHU. And during that time when the owners, sila si Mr. Ildefonso Yap, no, IDY, Ildefonso Yap, uh, it was, yeah, you heard about it, Harvardian, yes. It was actually one of the good schools, no? Uh, Nagdungan na sila sa UM, sa RMC, mga karaang nga schools nga koan, no? And that was one of the biggest also during that time sa mga stock corporation because this was run by a family. So when Ildefonso Yap was still living with a family, it was very well managed. When he died, and it was only the next generation that actually took over the management of the school, delikado na because the next generation were all situated in the United States. Yung mga doctor sila, mga health-related ang ilahang mga profession, not really on educational institution. So it was being handed over to some private, no, mga friends. And well, probably the second generation were not able to have controls, pasagdan lang nila. So without knowing that things were not doing well. So financial constraints every now and then were being experienced by people within the organization. Hangtod nagkahiyos sila. So nawala gyud. In fact, it has transferred to where Ama is in now, kanang naa sa Malvar Street, na eskwelahan doon sa Davao Doctors, medyo atbang dapit, no? That was actually the IHU in the past, nga nigamay na siya. Pero nagdugay na wala gyud na dissolve. It's because again of the management. And the school manager for that matter was not really having a heart, no, of keeping the school operation within its level. Grabe kadako nga eskwelahan, dako kay nga eskwelahan na wala lang. It's because again the people who were managing the school were not really that committed, no? In fact, that IHU has also ang kaning sila si Ildefonso Yap ang kanyang asawa were also related to the one in Pampanga man na, or sa Kuan, sa Luzon kanang Angeles, sa Angeles, the one in Angeles, the Angeles University, no? Foundation AUF. It becomes now a foundation. Kung ano na sila, I think magsuon. And their concern is more magsuon or mag-agaw. Their concern is more of educational institutions. But the Angeles University Foundation was transformed from a stock corporation to a foundation because the succeeding generations were able to see that it should not just be a stock where stockholders will be dependent on its operation, but rather something according to their vision and mission. So nag-ayo gid siya. It's because again of the school managers who were their tasked. Good for the Angeles University Foundation. The succeeding generations were concerned about educational institutions na ay nakasucceed. In fact, one of the sons, no, was a former CHED, no, chair, the Commission Higher Education chairman sa una, no, katong bago pa ang CHED. So it was so pang educator gud sila. So that's why they're able to make it somehow continuing and progressing. And in fact, making it into a foundation as if it becomes a non-stock, no, although stock pa rin to some ways but limited stock. So it is somehow a very good move of the organization. In fact, I was able to go there to the Angeles University Foundation, and I feel that I was inside a Catholic school. No, I was inside a Catholic school because when you get inside, you immediately have the chapel, an aircon chapel. Then inside also pag sa ilahang quadrangle, there are mga rebulto of the Virgin Mary, sort of kuan kanang murag uh, Virgin sa Lourdes, no, nga na ay grotto. So it's as if I said, uy, mura mo kung nasa na sa private schools, no, a Catholic school. So only to find out that it is a private school na non-Catholic. Pero they make it as a foundation and they practice a lot of Catholic Quran. So even in their curriculum, he included also, it's just like PWC. It is a non-Catholic, not non-Catholic, it is not a school that is run by a religious congregation, but rather run by just Catholics, no? Just pero it is a non-stock. So like PWC, it is a non-stock, non-profit organization, school, no? Uh, Seldom that you can find mga private schools not run by a congregation which is non-stock, non-profit. Because non-stock non-profit would tell that whoever puts up that school is not getting any dividend or share of whatever income or profit that will be derived after an operation. No, after a year's operation and then succeeding year of the annual operation. But rather, if it is a non-stock non-corporation, a non-stock non-profit corporation, it would mean that the school does not share any of its income to any person, okay? But rather it goes back to the operation of the school. And that is how PwC is doing. Well, except if one of the owners will hold a position like president or any position like dean or whatever, he will just be getting the salary just like any others, you know. So they are just compensated according to the position that they are holding and in the form of salary, not in the form of profit sharing. Because if it is a stock corporation, every end of the year, and then when they already have a assembly, they normally declare, no, their dividends. So from that dividends, they get out of what they had invested. Pero one thing that I really can appreciate of the PWU because it was started by PWU, the Philippine Women's University. The owners sila si Conrado Benetes katong the great grandfather, grandparents, no, and also sila si Kuan, ang usa sa anak si Zoila Helena Benetes, who was formerly a senator. Um, he did not get any dividends at all. In fact, until now, I don't know whether they are
Doc,
intending to
may
get.
iba akong intel dyan, Doc.
Yeah, sige daw.
Wag na lang kasi my mother sits in the board so wag na lang, Doc. Pero
Okay.
horror stories
It
po
was
yung family
started
na yan
with,
po.
so they are now moving towards, no, I think, no, towards making it a stock corporate, but it was started as a non-stock non-profit. So the same as the PwC, non-stock non-profit. So we said we really salute the Beniteses, no, the great parents of this mga PWU, because seldom that you can find kind of organizations na nag-invest sila and they don't get any dividends or share of the profit from that. What they get only is in the form of salary if they are, no, serving a certain position in that school. So anyway, they were managing, they were doing something, no, they were actually uh, operating the school. So that's why the role of the school manager, no, the responsibility is something great, especially at this time in the pandemic. And if you notice, there are so many schools, private schools and smaller schools that really close shop. No? They had declared them. How many schools had you known to have closed throughout the Philippines? And how many in Region 11? There are plenty. No? Labi na itong mga gagmay nga schools. They really declared to really close shop because they could not afford to to really pay the teachers, no, and then they were expecting to have lesser population, except on the case of RMC, because in the case of RMC, kung kanus nag-pandemic, nidaghan ang enrollment. Why? Like sa itong reason. Like in our basic education, no? We had, before the pandemic, we had planned out already to open our palayan for the basic or the senior high. So it was at the start of the pandemic that in Palayan nasugdan sad ang grade 11. So nidako ang population totally because it is a population of RMC as a whole. Okay? Na nahibong hala nga nung nidako man og population. without knowing that in the other branch that is in Palayan, in Nueva Ecija, we have, by the way, a branch, no? The Nueva Ecija, the Palayan Nueva Ecija RMC branch. We started there only for mga textbook courses, no? It's shorter, and especially started with the Nihongo because of the need of well, Nihongo speaking workers in Japan. So it was more of gwapo mag-connection atong chairman with no with this government there in Nueva Ecija. So we were able to do it. So for RMC, nagkadaghan nilong population even in our case here in the main, no? Because katong nag-close shop, napadulong sila RMC because RMC has a very low pay on low rate of tuition, no, and fees. So medyo din na sila napadulong. So that's why when we made some surveys among Region 11 schools, it turns out nga baliskad mga hitabo sa RMC. It has improved, no, it has increased its population. We said because we included also other schools that we had acquired, no. So mo na totally medyo nidako. And even especially our graduate school because of the online. And so many are really happy for the online. I don't know because by summer, we will be intending to start a gradual, limited face-to-face. And we are now preparing the papers for that. Now, gradual, limited face-to-face classes by summer so that medyo ang summer is pang kuan lang ba pansugod, no, so that we can see what more we can do so that by first semester by September we can already put everything in full blast. So if the pandemic will not surge, no, after the election, because we are expecting a lot ng daghan din sa after election because of the transmission due to the campaign and also mga daghang mga taong nagpundok, di ba? So we hope it will not happen. Everything will now already be in the normal situation. So we intend really to start by summer for the face-to-face. And we are trying to check, no, to conform also with the GMC uh, ruling, the MC guideline, because we have the guideline from the GMC. GMC means Joint Memorandum Circular. No? That is actually joint memorandum circular with the OH, with the IATF, with DepEd, with CHED, no? Who are very concerned about getting back to the school. So in the case of the graduate school, just by asking, no, some classes whether you want face-to-face or still online, what's the expectation? How about this class? What do you want? The online or the face-to-face?
Online, Doc.
Online, Doc.
Online
Our
doc.
online. How about the
Online,
online also?
online kay way pamasahe.
Okay, so far, wa pag yun isulti nga balik sa face-to-face ang graduate school, no? Pulos online. So, well,
Online,
that's yes, Rogi,
Agree, online po.
online sad. De La Peña, online also?
Online din po.
Okay. So, muna, no? Online. So that's why the graduate school. Ako sad, I like in the graduate school to be online. However, as far as the tertiary education, we need to have still the limited face to face because there are so many areas, so many courses that would require really to have face to face. Unya. So that's what we are planning now, as to what are those courses that we can allow for face-to-face and how should it be catered, no? Still in conformity with the IATF restriction na magyapon dito sa guideline. So that's what we will be doing. The graduate school is really bent on having the online. Okay, so we will not be phasing out online even in the undergrad, but to some limited, no, cases only. But graduate school will have to do something, okay, in which I requested Dr. Boskit to prepare for an online program because graduate students want to have still online, so a sort of online continuity plan, no? So this will be something that will have to be done and then to be submitted to CHED so that they will say yes or no. Yes or no. Although at the no this coming school year, we still plan to have it limited. No, kajit lang ko akong tubig. So still limited face to face. Well, okay, so this is where school managers will challenge more, no? Especially the pandemic time. So all those things that were discussed by Mrs. Piha were very, no, something that would refresh for those who are already experiencing as a school head. Mrs. Pia, are you already a school head in your school?
School in charge po, Doc.
Okay, so you're you're ahead there, no? So that's why you're able to elaborate a lot of things, no, on how public schools, especially, are catering to manage all this. Okay, so that's good, no, for some for these things. Before we end, na akong tingog.
Ay,
We
Doc,
would like to have
ready na
also
ako
again
mag-ano.
another,
Kala ko
kasi
mag-report ako today, so na-ready ko na yung aking ano.
alanganin kayo.
Oo nga eh. Sige
Next
lang po,
meeting pa
next
na
week
lang.
lang po, Doc.
Oo. Alanganin na. So, what we need is really kuan na lang. But next meeting we'll have two reporters. No? The Maita will be first half of the first hour, and then followed by Culinares on the second hour. Okay?
Okay po,
So
Doc.
Culinares, get ready. So could you
Doc,
by the way,
ay,
yes,
next Saturday po ako, Doc, no?
yes.
Doc, mag-excuse po sana ako, Doc, kay na ako'y event, Doc. Nakabook na po last 2 months pa po. Kung
What
pwede lang ko ma-move, Doc. Next.
what is that event?
Wedding po.
So you are event organizer or ikaw ang kaslon?
Host po, Doc. MC po.
Mag-MC.
Yes
Okay.
po, Doc.
So how about Kaskeho? Are you available to you should be available for the elementary program.
Yes po,
Okay.
Doc.
Okay. So you'll be taking over the the time or the schedule for Culinaris. So Culinaris will be replaced by Casquejo. So Culinaris will be presenting the following Saturday.
Yes po, Doc. Thank you po, Doc.
So you have to thank also Casquejo because she will be ready. Okay. So could we ask Mrs. Via to put out now your screen so that we can have a camera on for everybody for our picture taking. Please have your camera on now because before we end, we should have another picture. I made a memo, no, on this matter that before and after there should be a picture taking of all the classes.